In my previous videos, I told you that AI would never replace data scientists and data analysts. I told you to learn the basics, learn some SQL, Excel, statistics, and Power BI. Learn these skills and you will get a job. I gave you an entire roadmap on how to become a data analyst and climb the corporate ladder. Well, it's now 2026. And in my opinion, that roadmap no longer exists. In the next few years, I think that the linear career trajectory from data analyst to senior data analyst to principal data analyst will no longer exist. And this is because a lot of things have changed since I made my last data analyst video in 2025. And that change, of course, is AI. Look, AI has been around for some time, but in the past few years, things were different. Companies were integrating AI into workflows, and we were already just typing prompts into AI, getting code, and then using that code to generate analysis. But in 2026, a massive shift is taking place. Organizations are no longer just using AI to do things faster. They have started integrating AI into their software. AI is being built into productivity software like Jira, communication platforms like Slack, and even into dashboards where you can enter your prompts in plain English and get back this entire automated AI-driven analysis. So on one hand, you have AI models getting better and better every day. And on the other hand, AI is being integrated into software that employees use every day. The combination of these two things leads to an incredibly powerful shift in the way of working. It puts skills like data analytics into the hands of every employee. Let me give you an example. In the last month, my product manager, someone who isn't very technical, he doesn't know how to code, doesn't know SQL, doesn't know how to use BI tools. He built an entire fully functional dashboard that he then shipped to clients. A dashboard that pulled from hundreds of data sources. Not a mock-up, not a wireframe, a fully functional dashboard that he could then ship to clients that had actionable insights in it. Something like this would never have been possible before. Non-technical stakeholders usually come up with ideas, but then they have to go to a tech person, like a data analyst, to execute this idea, and then they would ship it. But with AI, the middleman, that is, the data analyst, is slowly being phased out. All I did as the data analyst on this project was validate the output of the dashboard. And guess what? It was like 90% accurate, which was very surprising. The AI model managed to go through like thousands of different data sources because we have a massive database. It was able to find accurate data sources and put them into the dashboard and generate pretty good insight. There was little to no hallucination. Just like 6 months ago, in January of 2026, a dashboard like this would have been my job, and it would have taken me weeks to build and validate it. But here's the thing. I'm not that upset about it because at this point, my own job has changed so much that I barely code or build dashboards anymore. In fact, the last time I coded something from scratch was like 2 months ago. But before I tell you what I do now as a data analyst, let's talk about some of the changes that have happened in AI because I keep telling you that something has changed in 2026. So what actually happened? That was this noticeable transformation in the way we worked when Anthropic released its Opus 4.6 model around Feb 2026. Claude released Opus 4 in May 2025. This was a great model. It was good at coding. It could run autonomously for about 2 to 3 hours. And then just a few months later, in November 2025, Claude releases Opus 4.5. Opus 4.5 is far better than the previous model. It beats all the benchmarks and it outperformed every human candidate on Anthropic's own engineering exam. It was also able to run for like 7 hours non-stop on autonomous coding tasks with no human involvement. And just when we thought things couldn't get any better, Opus 4.6 was released this year. And Opus 4.6 was able to run autonomous coding tasks for a period of 2 weeks, according to Rakuten. So we went from like 2 hours to 2 weeks of autonomous coding work in less than a year. This isn't a linear trend. This isn't AI getting progressively better over time. This is an exponential improvement, and its impact on jobs in tech, especially jobs like data analytics, is very real. Here's what this means. Now, less technical people, like product managers, can go ahead and build accurate shippable analysis by orchestrating AI workflows. Stakeholders who once used to reach out to me for analysis can now go ahead and ask a bot on Slack instead of coming to the data analytics team. The volume of requests hitting my desk has dropped, not because the work has disappeared, but because other people are now able to do it themselves. So, if the field is changing this fast, what should you actually learn? On top of all of the core data analytics skills, I think that you should also learn AI engineering. And I don't think this is optional. Look, I used to spend all my time building dashboards, writing code, creating pieces of analysis, and that has shifted. I'm not really doing that kind of analytics work anymore. Instead, almost all my time these days is spent on building AI tools for data analytics. I'm going to give you examples of AI tools that I'm building later in this video. But first, how do you start learning AI engineering? DataCamp's Associate AI for Developers course is a great place to start if you already know some programming and Python. Now, if you don't code, don't worry. I will list some no-code resources down in the description for you. You can check it out. Now, DataCamp's AI Engineer course, here's what it teaches you. The first thing it teaches you is prompt engineering and how to use the OpenAI API. This is the difference between person A, who is going to ChatGPT, typing a bunch of prompts, and getting an output, versus person B, who's basically building their own version of ChatGPT. So they're building a chatbot that integrates an analytics skill, that integrates their company's domain knowledge. And so this chatbot has the added layer of all of their company's knowledge, which can then be accessed by other employees. This is the layer that I'm working on at my current data analyst job, and this is a skill that companies will pay for as they're starting to integrate things like design, engineering, and analytics into their everyday software. And then there's a course on Hugging Face. Hugging Face is a platform that lets you access AI models for free. So you can literally go on Hugging Face, access AI models, and use these AI models to build really cool systems. And then you've got LLM Ops, which is large language model operations, which teaches you how to deploy AI systems, how to monitor them, and how to create CI/CD pipelines. For example, I have this analytics pipeline that I've built, and this pipeline is connected to a bot. So if people ask the bot questions, the bot then gets data from my pipeline and it will surface answers to them. Now, if the data that is being fed into the pipeline is outdated or stale, then my pipeline is going to surface inaccurate results. So I need to make sure that my pipeline is updated and as accurate as possible. That's basically what this course is going to teach you. And if this sounds confusing or engineering heavy, don't worry. A lot of the technical implementation nowadays is being done by AI, so it's not going to be that hard. After that, you will learn to develop AI systems. So this is where you will learn things like structured outputs, function callings, as well as how to integrate AI with other systems. My team has built this chatbot that essentially acts as a data analyst. So instead of coming to us for a piece of analysis, stakeholders can now go to this chatbot, ask it something, and it will deliver them a report or some kind of insight. This bot basically acts as a data analyst, and it's doing a pretty good job. This course will equip you with the skills needed to build a tool just like that. And then you've got embeddings and vector databases. This course will teach you how to store information so that AI can access it efficiently. Now, if you've reached this part of the video and you're confused and overwhelmed at all of the things that you need to learn, I understand. I have been there. I am still in the process of learning AI engineering and figuring things out as I go. And it's not easy, especially because it is an entirely different skill set to data analytics. But I think that it is a must-have skill because as data analytics and other tech roles are getting commodified, as AI starts to blur the lines between these roles, you want to be the person who's building the AI systems, not the person who's getting automated away by it. Okay, so this track is 26 hours long, and a prerequisite is that you need to know some Python or coding. If you don't know how to code, I will provide an alternative no-code resource in the description. Okay, now let's talk about what I do as a data analyst and the AI tools that I'm currently building. So what exactly does my data analyst role at a tech company look like? And will data analytics disappear, or has the role just changed? Now, this shift that I'm going to explain to you isn't specific to my data analytics role. It is an industry-wide shift that is taking place. I will link a paper down below to how Meta is also building similar systems. And once the Googles and Metas of the world start doing things a certain way, other companies are going to follow suit. So these are systems that are going to change the way entire tech teams operate. And if you, the person watching this video, are in data analytics, data science, if you're working in tech, you need to start learning how to build these systems. Okay, so here's what I do. Nowadays, my time isn't spent doing much of the analytical work. I don't create as many data reports as I used to. Instead, I build things called skills, orchestrations, and workflows. In the AI world, a skill is something that tells AI what to do. So you can take an analysis and you can package it into a set of instructions that AI can use. For example, if you're a data analyst and the marketing team always comes to you and says, hey, can you help us build a segment of customers that buy expensive things? As the data analyst, if you package all of this information into a context file, a skill that AI can use, you can then give this to the marketing team and say, hey, use my skill, use my AI, don't come to me for this information anymore. So me, the data analyst, am not in the loop anymore. It is now between the stakeholder and AI. And you're probably watching this and getting concerned because if we can skillify data analytics, then why do we need data analysts? I'll address this later. But here's what else I do. A large portion of my work also involves creating something called workflows. A workflow is a sequence of steps chained together. The simplest example of a workflow is this. Skill 1 does the data cleaning, Skill 2 does the data analysis, and Skill 3 builds a dashboard. So you have an entire workflow that goes from data cleaning to analysis to building a dashboard. Of course, in reality, it is a lot more complex than this. The complexity lies in how do you extract information that is in people's brains and give it to AI? Because oftentimes you have years and years of domain expertise that is sitting in the brains of a data analyst that needs to be transferred to AI for AI to deliver reliable results. So you're essentially building an engine that takes knowledge that is locked in people's brains, domain expertise, analytical expertise, and you've got to transfer this to AI. Meta has built something that does this. They've built a pre-compute engine that takes knowledge that was once locked in people's brains and they've turned it into a guide that AI can now use. And that's kind of what I'm building right now. I am building the infrastructure that lets the organization perform self-serve data analytics. Other teams, like the marketing team, can now use a chatbot to access my skills and my workflows and come up with an analysis in like 5 minutes. I'm also doing a lot of engineering work these days. So I build complex data tables, I build data pipelines, CI/CD pipelines. These are all things that I used to need a software engineer or a data engineer to do. But nowadays, thanks to the skills and workflows created by the engineering team, I'm able to do a lot of these things on my own. I don't need to be a software engineer to do a lot of this engineering work. The walls that once used to separate a data analyst from an AI engineer, those walls are dissolving, and there's going to be a lot of overlaps between these roles. Now, all of this might sound complicated. You want something simple, like a roadmap or a guide on how to go from data analyst to lead data analyst. Well, as I said earlier in this video, that roadmap doesn't exist anymore. And I think that we're instead going to see hybrid roles in tech, roles that play at the intersection of AI, engineering, and analytics. Roles like analytics engineer, AI analyst, data and AI engineer. People who know the math, know the business, and know the data. And they use these skills to build systems that the entire organization can use. So what can you do about it? You, the person who's watching this video right now. Well, if you're new to the workforce, or if you have a couple of years of experience like me, then you are best positioned to learn these skills. I think that you need to learn the skills of AI and engineering right now, when companies are still defining these hybrid roles that are at the intersection of engineering, AI, and analytics. Learn these skills as these roles are being defined so that when companies start hiring for these positions, you will be at the right place at the right time. Do it right now, while other people are taking outdated certifications, while universities still haven't caught up to the pace of AI in the real world. Okay, so we've established that you should know some SQL, statistics, and programming. And of course, domain expertise, because if you build workflows or skills on top of incorrect data, the output is going to be incorrect. And on top of that, you need to learn AI engineering. Here's the thing though, I'm not going to tell you that doing all of this guarantees you a job. Because if there's anything that I've learned in the past year, it's that no one really knows where these technologies are heading, not even the people building them. What I can give you, though, is an educated guess. A prediction that is rooted in years of working in analytics and sitting across people who are leading some of the biggest AI initiatives in the country. It is my prediction that a combination of skills like AI, analytics, and engineering turns you into an indispensable part of the workforce. Someone who builds systems that empowers decision making. There is a reason why this particular skill set is so hard to automate away. At the World Economic Forum earlier this year, Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, made this point directly. He said that the future belongs to companies that treat AI models as components and treat orchestration, context, and proprietary knowledge as their true differentiators. Not the models themselves, but the knowledge that you wrap around it. Think about it. Any company can buy access to the same AI model, but no model knows that your core success metric drops immediately after launching a new feature and can only be measured after at least 2 weeks of the feature rollout. Or that your company calculates EBITDA by excluding stock-based compensation. This kind of information resides in people's brains after years and years of domain experience and working in the field. If you can take this knowledge and put it into a system that AI can actually use, then your job becomes very difficult to replace, because this isn't something that you can simply outsource to an engineer who has never touched your data before. That's the job. At least that's what I'm doing right now. And I'm giving you a heads up because you don't want to be stuck doing yet another Tableau certification course, learning a skill that might be unmarketable in the next 5 years. The sooner you learn these skills, the better positioned you will be. Not just to survive this shift, but to be the person driving it at your company. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to my channel. It may not be a big thing for you, but as a small content creator, it helps me grow and it helps me continue to share my journey in tech with all of you. And yeah, thanks again for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.